Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and yes, today is Wolverine. Yes, we have the lovable Sourpuss himself, and Wolverine in Marvel United has a fairly balanced deck, I think. He also has the distinction of a starting hand card. So his healing factor here, and I'm going to zoom in so you can actually see. Healing factor is a card he gets to start the game with, which I think is helpful. Now, it's probably a card that's a little better on first glance than it actually seems. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, if you have less than 3 cards in your hand at the end of a villain turn, you may draw 1 card. Now, keep in mind, you have to fully resolve the entirety of the villain's turn. The villain is going to move. The villain will activate a BAM effect. The villain will place civilians or thugs. And then, if you're still alive, then you get to draw a card. And that's okay, right? What this does enable Wolverine to do is be in a position where when there's a choice of, should I be the one to take damage? Some heroes has to take damage, but somebody doesn't. It's not an effect that says all heroes take damage, but instead it's an effect. One hero in a location is going to take damage. Wolverine can do that. And Wolverine has, we'll say 3 cards that are reasonable to discard here, right? His single move, his single punch, and I'd argue the single wild are all cards where you can say, okay, yeah, fine. I'll discard those in hopes of drawing something better at the end of my turn. Even arguably his adamantium claws with the move at the end, or even with the punch on the bottom. It depends on the scenario. It depends on the situation you're in. Wolverine gets to fill those scenarios. So, other specials. He does have these 3 adamantium claws. They all do the same thing, 2 punches, and they give you 1 other action symbol, a wild, a move, or a punch. Makes sense. Wolverine's not going to be super heroic. In fact, he only has 4 total heroic symbols in his deck. That is more than some characters. Wolverine is a good guy after all, so it makes sense for him to have some heroics. What stings a bit for me is he also only has 4 movement. And, in the movies, in the anime, he moved a fair bit. He can strike from a distance. And none of that was reflected in these cards. So I think there's a tiny, tiny bit of a miss. Not a massive miss, but just a little bit of one. But what Wolverine does is he punches. And he punches hard, right? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punches, plus these extra 6 adamantium claw punches. And yes, that means he has 4 special cards. Plus his single wild, double wild, right? All characters have those, so we don't really count those as much. But I think Wolverine is another one of these characters that he's, aside from punching, and he does punch very well, he's not an expert at anything. I do very much appreciate the extra wild. Gives him a lot of flexibility. He's giving his teammates 50-50. 2 actions, 1 action. So I don't think he's the most friendly of heroes. He's certainly not absolutely supportive. But he's also not selfish, right? None of his cards are a no action symbol. He's typically able to play what is needed to help somebody. In the few games I've played with him, I am never stuck in a situation where I'm like, I have nothing good to play, and, well, this is just all gonna suck. Nope, instead this may not be the favorite thing for me to play, but I can at least play it and we'll make some headway. What Wolverine does very well is he combos with other characters that heal, such as Beast, such as and in addition, characters that have abilities to not take damage. When you put all of that together, a villain that is dependent on performing knockouts, a villain that only is successful when they KO your heroes, even a villain like Mystique. That villain's going to have a much harder time being successful because Wolverine is in play plus those other heroes. Wolverine alone isn't the be-all end-all, but Wolverine will help. Wolverine is also much more useful in games where there are henchmen because he has these extra punches. And he has the punches to get working on the henchmen, start taking away their damage right away. Wolverine is very, very, very successful in fighting Mystique. Wolverine is also very successful at working against Sabretooth. Not perfect. Not perfect by any means, but is helpful. So, a couple of ideas, a couple of ways to help out there. I like Wolverine. I think Wolverine is an absolute solid play. I'm glad Wolverine, especially this version of Wolverine, is in the core set. I think that you can do much, much, much worse with a hero selection than bringing Wolverine in. Because, you know what? Bring Wolverine, I think you got a good chance to win in almost any scenario you play using any heroes. Forget just X-Men, but any heroes. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, that's what I got to say. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.